Hey, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the Saga, where we explore all of those stories beyond the Skywalker saga. Hannah Burr is with me. How are you, Hannah?
I am well, and how are you?
I am good. We are finally going to talk about a book that I know you read through pretty quickly a while ago.
Yes.
I just finished it, a book that came out back in February. And it was kind of a precursor to what we got in Andor Season 2, a trilogy of books. This is the first of a trilogy. So it's the Reign of the Empire trilogy. The first book we're going to talk about is called The Mask of Fear. And it's a pretty thick book, actually.
It is.
And it is written, this one is written by Alexander Freed. Now, if Alexander Freed doesn't ring a bell, he has done Star Wars books in the past. He did Twilight Company, which I thought actually was a very good book. Have you read that one yet?
I don't think I have.
Twilight Company is really good. I was very surprised by that one. And then he also did the Alphabet Squadron trilogy of books, which I have not finished yet. So
I have not either.
I have not either. So he's done a lot of Star Wars. He's very familiar with the world. And what's interesting about this book is it centers around obviously three main characters: Mon Mothma, Bail Organa, and Saw Gerrera. Now the other two books, which I actually just read this, I didn't really realize this, but the other two books will come out in the next couple springs, so spring 2026 and spring 2027.
Okay.
So it looks like about a year apart. The second book is going to be written by Rebecca Rowanhouse, and the third book will be written by Fran Wilde. So Alexander Freed is not doing the entire trilogy. He only did this one. So yes, so when it takes place right after the Empire takes over. So we're basically right after the end of the Clone Wars, and the Empire begins to reign. So this is, right off the bat, a different type of book that we're used to, because I feel like we're used to following our heroes, going through the changes of how they're, I guess, in the rebellion sense, how they're building the rebellion and succeeding at that. Where this is the beginning, and we're finding our three characters where it's a struggle. There's a lot happening with the Empire right now, and I love, basically it says on the back here, it says, before the rebellion, the Empire reigned, and the Empire surely is reigning at this point. So, what is your overall take and impression of this book?
I mean, I love this book. I think it's a great way to show this is how it started. And I think it's also important to understand that each of them had the same goal in mind. Mon Mothma, Senator Organa, and Saw Gerrera. Mm-hmm. They all had the same goal in mind, but each of them took a different path to get there. And I love the fact that we go through their psyches, especially Mon Mothma. Like, she does some things that are pretty drastic for her character. Mm-hmm. And that's saying something. But also, I think the thing is, I don't think people understand just how, and Andor kind of helped with this, but you don't understand how high the stakes are, and you don't understand how much your life is at risk for even saying one bad thing about the Emperor.
Yes.
And this book emphasizes that so much. How careful they all have to be. How delicate they all have to, well, Saw's not delicate, but also that's just Saw for you. That's just the path he chose. That's what he decided what was best. It's just, and it's interesting to see how all three of them at first didn't agree.
That's right.
Like in the beginning, Mon and Senator Organa have a fight
Mm-hmm.
over the right way to go about this. I won't say what happens at the end, but I think it's so interesting to see all of their different paths and how they all each react differently to the Empire formation.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I blew through that sucker pretty fast.
You did. Yeah, I remember you telling me you started it, and then like maybe a few days later you were done.
Yep.
It took me a little while, but
But you were also way busier at that time. So what did you think of it?
well, it took me a while just because it takes me a while. It's not because I didn't like it. I did really like this book. I think the one thing that we have to stress, people that have read it know, but it is a very dialogue-driven political book. It's not.
Yes.
It's not an action war novel. Like there's not really a rebellion going on. It's the really beginnings of the rebellion, and how, like you said, how these guys find their way to be able to fight the Empire. I thought the one thing that I thought was pretty neat was, there were deleted episodes, or I'm sorry, deleted scenes from episode 3 that talked about the delegation of 2000. And I'm glad that they actually brought that back and made that an emphasis on, Mothma and Bail were being punished basically for signing this petition. And I'm telling you right now, it's a wonder, especially after this book. And I can't imagine what the next 2 books are going to be.
Seriously.
Yeah. I'm starting to get very surprised that they were able to survive all the way through till episode 4.
All the things they were able to do, I was like, how did you get away with that? That was literally the book, is how did you get away with that? How did you get away with that? And we all know it's because Palpatine's smart.
Yes.
He knows that if there's a senator that has favor of a good chunk of people, he's not going to get rid of them right away.
Yes. Yeah, and it goes back to a lot of my feelings about the Emperor, like you just said, how he's still hiding the fact, how good he is at hiding the fact of what his true intentions are, which, he's a Sith Lord trying to rule the galaxy, whereas even in this book, it's people think he's like the savior of the Republic,
Well, you can see Senator Organa wrestle with that fact, because he doesn't necessarily know. I mean, yes, we see him in Revenge of the Sith, but even after that, he doesn't know. He doesn't know if the Jedi are his allies or not.
Well, but he is trying to find out how, what evidence is out there regarding.
Exactly.
How were they really? Did they really do what they said that people said that they did? And
exactly.
And he's trying to justify, because what he knows of them is obviously really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the fact that they survived this novel, and the fact that they survived the next 19 years
beyond me
is very surprising. And these books will, and a lot of people probably may not read these books, but this is starting to throw a lot of weight into what we see happen in Andor.
It absolutely is. In fact, I read this before Andor came out, so
that's
I
right,
was like,
you did.
how is this going to impact Andor, or how does Andor impact this?
Yeah. I think Saul, like you said, I think Saul is. I'm not sure really how much depth there is there with him, and we know kind of his cause, and we know his reasonings, and he's out there just wrecking havoc. But yeah, the fact that Mon and Bail didn't start off the way I thought they were, or they did,
that shocked me. I didn't realize they both started off on the wrong foot, essentially.
right?
And that's not really a spoiler. They have different points of view on how to approach this.
Yeah, and they really didn't get along that
No,
much.
they did not.
I mean, they both knew that the Empire wasn't the right way, and but they definitely didn't see eye to eye on a lot of things. And you did get that feeling a little bit in the second season of Andor too. Still,
Oh, you did. But it was a lot more amicable than it was during this time. Because this time they were like straight out sharp with each other.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So I think, I think it was a great start. I think, again, there was a lot there. There was a lot going on. There's just a lot of experiences that now that we are learning about with Mothma and with Bail, especially, that, stakes are a little different now, and I mean, at this point too, it's like, Mon doesn't have her daughter yet. So, there's a difference in her life, whereas Bail just got a daughter. And so the perspective that they have in their lives right now is a little different. But but it's pretty good. It's a good start to this. And I'm not sure, again, I'm not sure how or where these next couple of books are going to go.
I was to say, I completely forgot it was a trilogy. I got to the end, and then I think you mentioned, like, oh yeah, the first of 3. And I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
There are 2 more? Where is this going?
Yeah, we don't have titles of those yet, but I imagine there might be a little bit of a time jump, between them, but not much. I think this is all kind of focusing on these early years of the Empire.
Agreed.
Yeah. So do you feel like in the end this book, this trilogy, will be more or less impactful for the Star Wars saga?
We don't need it, but it's helpful. It helps connect some dots.
We
and I
don't
hope
need
in
it.
these books we figure out how Saul got from A to B. From being a man to part man, part machine.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think they're, we talked about it in our last episode of Inside the Force, some of these characters, mainly the legacy characters, how, where do we need to see them in more stories and things like that? I mean, their stories have been told. I think, I still think Mon and Bail, I still think there's still some mystery there of who they are and how they got to be where they are. I mean, Mon we kind of know now from Andor, but there's still a good 15 years of story there that we don't know, and how she navigated this empire, and that's what I'm most curious about, is how did they never get caught fighting and growing this rebellion?
Yeah. I wonder if we're going to get
within the
Luthen.
Empire. Do what?
I said, I wonder if we're going to get Luthen.
Oh, well, yeah, that's I would probably bet it's a good point. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's probably what we're going to see, is how they started. It's a very good point. Yep. And that's interesting too, because Luthen, we got his backstory towards the end of the last season a little bit, but how he got hooked up with Mothma and truly got into working the rebellion, and that's a good story there.
Yeah.
Some good details there that we need to figure out. So, yeah, Bail, with Leia.
Yeah, hearing that internal debate of being a father versus trying to do the greater good.
Right. Yeah.
Woof. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. So where? Okay, so what's your rating on this thing?
I'll give it a 4.2 out of 5.
4.2. Oh, you're kind of.
I've been doing
off.
decimals, you know
You're
this.
doing decimals now. Yeah, I'm. I don't do really decimals, but I'll do. This is probably a 4 for me, which is pretty high. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good read. Highly recommend. Read it.
I think it's essential. I think it's. I think the viewpoint of the Republic and the Empire and just how that grows. I think that's pretty important here. I think it's going to be even solidified more with the next couple books. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah, it looks. Seems like it's going to have to wait a while though. So. I wish they were coming out a little sooner, but yeah, it looks like 26 and 27 springs. So.
Nice.
Have to wait till then.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, so let us know what you guys thought about Reign of the Empire, if you guys have read that at all. But we'll be back doing more stuff here soon. Yep. More comics, more books. I don't know. What are you into now? Are you reading anything right now?
Everything. What have I been reading? I think I've been reading Darth Vader.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And then I've read some books that you've read a while ago that we'll need to catch up on.
I just started The Living Force.
Okay.
Have you done that one yet?
No.
Yeah. Just started that one.
Okay.
That one, to be honest, that one is, it takes place before episode 1. It's mainly about the Jedi Council.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to get into right now, to be honest.
No.
Yeah. I love Jedi, but like this one it's a little tough right now. So it didn't hook me like something would in the first few chapters, but
thanks for the heads up.
We'll see. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Stay here and keep checking YouTube for more council sessions, Beyond the Sagas, Dark Knowledges, all that stuff. And, of course, we're here weekly on Inside the Force. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time. May the Force be with you.